Hello and welcome to Thijsse College. We find ourselves in a very special place in this building because this is the Chinese department, as you can see from the objects behind me, and there's even a dragon in this room. My name is René Welle and I'm one of the deputy heads of the school, one of the two deputy heads, and I'm going to tell you something about education here at Thijsse College. In the first place, we have, I must say, a well thought through plan of how we, let's say, teach classes to students here at school. We call this JP teaching or JP teaching in English. In the first place, we make use of a metaphor to express how we work with education, and we use the metaphor of a tree. In the first place, there are the roots of a tree. They form the basis of teaching and of how students come to the school. But lots of other things are in the, let's say, the basis of education. For instance, how you study, and let's say, what did you learn at primary school? So this is how you come to the school. That's all in the basis, in the roots of the tree. Then there's the trunk of the tree, and the trunk stands for everything that you need to learn to be able to take your exams at the very end of your education. Whether it is MAVO, HAVO or VWO, you need to learn many things to be able to do your exam, and so the trees get thicker by the year, we can say. And then in the end there are the branches and perhaps even the leaves and the fruit of the tree, and those are all the extra things that you can study here at Thijsse College, all the extra things that you can do at Thijsse College, and that is, for instance, also, let's say, playing in a musical or doing something extra for certain subjects that have your special interest. And so this is what we mean with the image, the metaphor of the tree. This also comes back into how we, let's say, use our schedules, a day-to-day schedule. We have divided this into three different blocks. Block number one at the very beginning of the day, and you could say that is representative of the roots of the tree, because in block number one it's not compulsory for all students, but then we offer extra tuition for subjects that perhaps children or you might not understand properly, that you think, well, I want to know more about it, or for the students who want to learn, well, how do I study properly? Or how can I plan my homework? So that is what we offer in block number one, and we start at 8:15, and that lesson ends at 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock is then also the start of, let's say, block number two, and that is actually the ordinary schedule that you'll find at many other schools as well. So all the subjects and all the different elements of teaching are in block number two. In the lower forms, this ends at about 2 o'clock, and then you find the start of block number three. And block number three is especially meant for what I just mentioned as the branches and the fruit of the tree. So the extra things that you can study, things like, as I said, playing in a musical, practicing for music nights, all other things, extracurricular activities, that is put in block number three. So that is how we organize every day at school here. We find it very important that students come to school and do not suffer from so much stress. And it has been researched thoroughly in the Netherlands that what students suffer most from in terms of stress is many tests. So we have decided that there must be a good balance between formative assessment, so assessment without any marks, and summative assessment. And we've decided that for each different subject you can have a maximum of 6 tests per year and a minimum of 3, because you do want, let's say, a proper mark and based on enough evidence. This means that the formative assessment is very important, and also in let's say, in evaluation with students, we've learned that students really appreciate good personal formative assessment, and good personal feedback especially. So the student knows what he or she has to do to get a good mark at the summative assessment. This is something very special at Jappe Thijsse College. Having, let's say, 3 blocks and an emphasis on formative assessment, it also means that there's, let's say, a different type of didactics at this school. Lessons are not only geared to working towards the summative assessment. Because we offer so much formative assessment, also the lessons become more interesting for students to attend, and because they get more feedback on what they're learning, how they're learning, and where they are. The 5th element of JP teaching is what we call EdTech, and EdTech is short for Education and Technology. It also works in didactics because teachers often make use of, let's say, instruments that we need the internet for, or other apps that the students learn best with. All students have a device they also bring to school, and that is often used here at school. Well, as you can see, we're now in a different room. This is one of the rooms of the English department, as you can tell from the flags behind me. That is because at Jappe Thijsse we offer bilingual education. And that is what Jappe Thijsse is quite famous for nowadays. And many students choose bilingual education. We offer bilingual education in all departments, so MAVO, HAVO and VWO. And obviously there are some differences among these different departments. At MAVO, for instance, you can get the Anglia certificates. At HAVO we offer Cambridge first certificate, and at VWO, in the lower forms, we let the students practice with first certificate, but they can do Cambridge Advanced or even Cambridge Proficiency in the upper forms. On top of that, at HAVO and VWO, in the final years, we offer IB English diploma program, and that really helps them when they go to University of Applied Sciences, in the case of HAVO, and university in general at VWO. Besides bilingual education, we think it's very important that all the students at Jappe Thijsse have some experience with internationalization. So we make the students aware of the fact that basically where we live in Castricum, Helo, Heemskerk, Beverwijk, this area is a fantastic place to live, but there is so much more on this earth. And it is very likely that at some day in their career, some point in their career, they are going to meet people from, let's say, all over the world, or a number of the students will even go abroad to study or to even work, get their working career. So it's very important that students are aware of the fact that there are so many different opinions, so many different perspectives on the things that we offer them. In the first form, the students are placed according to the advice that we get from the primary schools. But that does not mean that the student that will be the level of the student at the very end of the school career. We take the first 2 years to determine seriously what are the abilities of the student. Is there a possibility, for instance, that the student who is very good at one subject, that the student takes the exam a year ahead of the rest? Or that for one subject, the student can take the exam at a higher level, for instance. But also the students who come to Jappe Thijsse, sometimes they develop themselves very quickly, so we move them upwards to another level. For this, we make sure that we know the students really well, and especially the mentor knows the student really well. In the first form, the student has 2 lessons every week from the mentor, and during these classes the student also learns how to plan their homework, to organize their work, and we carefully assess whether the student is working at the correct level. So this is the end of my introduction to Jappe Thijsse College. You can click on any film that you like, but they're all in Dutch. On the other hand, there's always a possibility to ask questions in the chat, and we will be very happy to accommodate you and answer your questions. Thank you very much for your attention.